Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Live Chat with Josie today. I am hosting many of Nigerians call her an iron woman. She is Nigeria's iron woman. I'm talking of Aisha Yesufu in regards to the protests that are going on in Nigeria as we speak. Hashtag EndSARS. Good afternoon, Aisha. How are you?
Good afternoon, Josie. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me today. So it's a culture here on Live Chat with Josie that I ask everybody that I host to introduce themselves the best way they want. Who exactly is Aisha Yesufu?
Well, Aisha Yesufu is a Nigerian citizen, an active Nigerian citizen, and she's crazy. She's unapologetic in what she does, and she believes that there's a space on this earth for her, and she's going to live her life to the fullest, irrespective of what the expectation of society. She refuses to live by the society's expectations. She lives by what she wants to do and what makes her happy. And she's married with two young adults, so adult children, and so she has time to just be herself.
All right. So what exactly led you into activism?
Well, I think I was born into activism. So I've always been one person who is vocal, who I've always been vocal all my life. And I've always made demands, even from my parents, even though it got me into lots of trouble. Because the normal African setting, you're not supposed to question your parents, you're not supposed to question your elders, but I did that anyway. So for me, this is who I've always been. But it's just that it was not until 2014, after my 40th birthday, that I came to the main Nigerian public and began to speak on issues that had to do with national issues. Unlike before, basically my activism was based on people around me. If there's any injustice, I'm going to stand against it. I'm going to make demands. And the first time I actually did a protest was in 1992, my first year in the university.
All right. You say that you're a crazy woman, you got into trouble with your parents, but I know you are married. Are you not getting into trouble with your husband doing all this, or he's also supporting you into activism?
Oh, he's very, very supportive. He's extremely supportive. He supports me. I mean, he's my pillar, he's my teacher, he's my mentor, my number one fan. And he knows I'm crazy, of course, because even from the time we started going out before we got married, I remember I had what we call in Nigeria, shoot the shot. I had to shoot the shot. It wasn't coming through, so I had to be the one to like, hey, I'm here, look at me. And then, by the time we're supposed to start going out, there was a time he said to me, oh, maybe I'm going to come to your house on Friday, or on Saturday, no, school. I'm going to come to the school to see you in the hostel. And I said to him, I don't do maybes. It's either you're coming or you're not coming. He knew right from day one that I'm crazy. And then when he proposed, I said to him, two things: I'm always very sick and I'm also lazy. And he was okay with that. So I married I didn't settle for the kind of man that will not be, will feel challenged by my own personality. I also remember just before where I had met my husband, I met another person who was actually interested in me. He was a young medical doctor. And as of that time, that was like a catch, you getting married to a medical doctor. And I will never forget 1997, on Valentine's Day, he came to my hostel and he came to me to say that, he wanted me to come to his house so that I will cook rice for him. And I said to him, I too was looking for who to cook for me. So for me, upfront, I tell people this is who I am, and then they just have to accept me for who I am.
So I think it was actually born in you. I mean, someone who's very vocal, outspoken, you stand your ground, that's who you are. But a few weeks ago, there's been a rumor, Aisha, that you have relocated out of Nigeria. Some were saying that you're actually tired of fighting the government. Are you retiring anytime soon? Are these rumors true?
Absolutely not. They weren't. And then there's another part of the rumor that I was just pulling the legs of some people. So what happened is that my youngest child started university, and she schools in Scotland. And when she started university, she was 17. She had gone to England at the age of 15, and she did her A-levels. 2 years of A-levels, she was now 17. So during her sixth form, which is the A-level, she was in a boarding school, a very great school called Garden State. And so when she was moving to university, so myself and my husband, we decided I was going to stay with her for 1 year, get her settled in and everything. So for me, that was what took me away. So by the time people realized that I was out of the country, and then some of them started saying, oh, you that have run away because I couldn't stand the government, they were going to come after me. Some said I was seeking for asylum and all sorts of things. But I knew that I had gone there to settle my daughter in, and I was going to come back by September. And so towards the end, just in that September, there were some people who now started, oh no, you're a coward, you ran out of the country, you're not doing protest anymore, you used to protest during the last administration, blah, blah, blah. And I said to them, yes, I've retired. So you take over where I stopped. And okay. So the work is not on me, just go ahead and do it. And I kept doing that. Even when I came back to the country, none of them knew I was in the country. I kept doing that until I came out at the protest of October 1st, 2000, this year. Yeah. But most importantly for me, it was on my 40th birthday that I made the pact that I was going to start speaking on national issues, because I said I had become the problem of Nigeria with my silence. When citizens keep quiet, they are the problem in the country. And so I decided I would start speaking on national issues. And I said to myself on that day, on my 40th birthday, which was 12/12/2013, I said, if God gives me 40 more years, I'm going to devote those 40 years to Nigeria. So I've only done 6 years, and maybe by December it will be 7 years. So I have 30-something more years to give to Nigeria. I'm not retiring anytime soon.
Okay, good that you're not retiring. So there is a picture that I would agree with many Nigerians that call you Nigeria's Iron Woman, where you had your fist up there recently at the end SARS peaceful protests. So I just want to know from you, Aisha, what exactly triggered these protests?
Well, this protest was triggered by police brutality. And the young people in Nigeria are the ones organizing this protest. For me, it's such a surreal feeling, such amazing feeling of happiness and joy, seeing that the Nigerian youth have taken their place in the polity of the nation, and they are not just sitting back and allowing things being thrown at them. That they are going forth and ensuring that their voices are heard and their demands are being heard. So what happened in recent times, there have been a lot of killings in Nigeria over the years, police brutality and molestation and extortion, and a lot of, every time you see young people coming out to say they were molested because they had dreadlocks, or they had tattoos, or they had good cars, or they even had a laptop. And so these people, and then they were extorted huge sums of money, monies from them. And the complaints kept going on. But in the recent one, a young man was killed, and the people in the place were angry. His car was taken away by this SARS. The people were angry, and then they started the first protest, and it just sort of like went round. I joined the protest at which I had my feet up. There was a protest we had done on the Thursday. Then on Friday, young Nigerians came out, young adults came out for the protest, and they were attacked by the police. The one we came out on Saturday, on Thursday, we went to the police headquarters. Nobody did anything to us. And then these young people came out to do their own, and they were attacked immediately. So when I got to hear about it, I was like, oh my goodness. In the meantime, myself and Dr. Obi Ezekesili, we went to see the IG of police, and we said to him, your men can't be attacking protesters. This is wrong. And just let them know that they should do whatever they're doing within the ambit of the law. And so we were done with that. So on Saturday, this young Nigerians who reside in Abuja decided they were going to go back and do a protest. So we came out, quite a number of more people joined them. I came out on that day, and I joined them after their march to a place called Unity Fountain, Abuja. They decided to go to the police headquarters, and they all went there. We got there, they wanted to speak with the IG. They said the IG was not around, and they said they were ready to wait for the IG. And they sat down, and I sat at the back because it's not my protest. NSAS is not, I didn't call for it. I'm not part of the organizers, but I of course, I support them 100%. And I've been on the streets with them where I'm saying, no, look, authorities, you can't touch them. If you're going to touch them, you have to come through me. And so I sat at the back all throughout that day until when at one time the police came together as they formed their straight line formation. They wanted to like shoot, cock their gun. And that was when I moved to the front and I raised my hand. I've always, in every protest, I'm always raising my hand up, you know, standing fair. For this one, maybe because of the posture, because I had to put my legs a bit wide apart so that in case they're pushing or they're coming, I'll be able to, the impact will not push me off my feet. And then I had my hands up, and then those are the pictures that went out, and there were certain parts that we took a knee and all of that. And after that, I was just talking to them and telling the police they need to understand that they're supposed to protect the people, they're supposed to do the needful. In Nigeria, we are being plagued by terrorists, bandits, we're being plagued by kidnappers and insecurity, and police is nowhere to be found. So that was what went on that day when that picture was taken.
So how do you feel when you see the picture trending like that? I mean, there's been different versions that have been made out of that picture. I see some are made in gold, some is like a statue. I mean, how do you now feel something that you started when you were very young and you've always wanted to be there for Nigeria, to speak up for Nigeria, and you see this picture trending? I mean, when you look at that picture, a picture says 1,000 words. There is a lot of issues. There's a lot of words that you can see through that picture. How do you feel, Aisha?
I don't even know whether I've even had time to process that picture yet. You know, they keep asking me this question. I'm like, I've not really had time because there's so many things that have been going on, you know, up until you're still in the middle of the fight. You're still having to, because the other day we went to the National Assembly, we were attacked by the military. The president deployed military to protesters, and you know, we were kicked. I mean, people are still being killed, so there hasn't been enough time. And I was even surprised when some people said that, oh, the picture had trended even around the world. I knew I was seeing it in places like, I go on Twitter, it's there. I thought it was just a bit of picture in Nigeria, because there have been several of my pictures like that came out. But you know, and people are saying, oh no, it actually trended. You know, almost everywhere you're seeing it. Sometimes my kids are calling me to say, oh, mommy, their friends are sending them the pictures and everything. I've not really had time because I don't know. We're still in the middle of battle. That's just the way I put it. So I'm sure when I'm done, look at it, I'm like, Aisha, you were crazy. You actually stood there and you were ready to collect that bullet. I'm gonna talk to myself and say, you really are crazy, you know. I'm just like, what were you thinking? Standing there, because on that day, so let me give you a bit of context to that picture. So after we did all of that and we had finished, and it was almost 2 hours, between 1.5 to 2 hours. The police sort of like came down, what I was saying was getting to them, and they all sat down. And I felt, oh, okay, the police they have downed their weapons, so probably nothing's going to happen. They're going to leave those young Nigerians here, and these young adults were saying that they were going to sleep in that place. So it was time for prayer. So I went to the back, I went to go and say my prayers. I hadn't eaten all day. And so my friend had brought some smoothie for me. So I was just trying to wipe the smoothie off and then clean it and just wipe the container, when boom, the first shot went off. Tear gas was thrown, and then people started running. And then one almost pushed me away. So I just moved to the allowed people just that. And I looked at the police, and the fuel is streaming, you know, I couldn't breathe, came back slowly. I saw this, the water on the floor, a bag of water. So I picked one. There's what we call sachet water that we normally call pure water in Nigeria. And so I picked one, I put it all over my eyes, and I kept going. And then they were shooting. They were shooting at me. They were throwing tear gas canister. And I just raised my hand and I walked slowly back. I was bracing myself for the impact. And I was like, I wish if it's going to come, let the impact just go straight. I don't want to sit down and be feeling pains. Let it just do whatever it needs to do. And I came out of that. And as soon as I came out of there's like a barbed wire that the police headquarters had, 4 of them came at me. And they were like holding bottled water. And they were bottled, I think they had like 2 or 3, each of them. They were just throwing them at me. And that was the reason why some people who saw it from afar thought that they were actually beating me up. And that was even before I went on Twitter, people were like, oh, the police had attacked Aisha, they had beaten her. So it was only one of the bottled water that hit me somewhere, I can't even remember, around my lap. And then one of them looked at me and he cursed me. And I looked at him and I cursed him back. And at that moment, I could see that his eyes, there was a bit of fear. I'm sure he was wondering, what's with this woman? Everybody had run off. She's all alone here. She's surrounded by about 4 or 5 of us. And I'm cursing her, she's cursing back. And I said to him, you're so shameless. The terrorists are killing your people out there, because 8 policemen had been killed around early this month, was it late last month, and they hadn't done anything. I said, you are here, you're just attacking innocent citizens who are not armed, who are the peaceful protests. And so when I saw that fear, I knew, I walked away. That was when I turned my back. I walked away. I started going, and then some other protesters came back. They joined me, and we raised our hands. We were just walking down. The police went to the other side of the road, and they were just shooting and throwing tear gas canisters at the protesters. But the beautiful thing about it was that the other protesters, most of them, of course, are young. They had run far away. And when I came on social media that day and the next day, I saw a lot of them beating themselves up. And it was like, oh no, we failed you, we ran away. I was like, no, you didn't fail me. You did the best thing for me. Because by running away, every one of you was safe. And so the only person I had to worry about was myself. And that made a whole lot of things easier for me, because if any of you was behind or was there, I would not have been able to concentrate on me. I would have had to concentrate on the rest of them. And I said, please, it was instinctive and it was the safest thing to do, and I'm glad they did it. Another protest we had, we went to National Assembly when the military attacked us. Initially they ran a bit, and then they came back because I had gone ahead, and I had to come back to come and meet the military and them. And one of the military actually kicked me. He kicked me on my waist, and one of the protesters rushed at him. I had to hold the protester because I didn't want any bloodshed. I said, just leave him alone. All I was interested in was making sure that everybody was safe. And for me, that was the main goal. So after this whole thing, I'm going to look at myself and say, Aisha, next time, I don't think you're supposed to do that. But then I know myself, I will remember that. I will always do that, because I always believe that to be silent because you are afraid to die is actually death in itself.
You know, that is a very powerful statement, because my next question was going to be, so Aisha, are you actually ready to die for Nigeria? Are you ready to die for Nigerians? Because you said you stood there and you actually wanted the impact to hit you in a way that you won't feel pain. You'd rather just go down with no pain. Yeah. But it seems like you're ready to die.
The thing is that, am I alive? That's a question I always ask people. Are we alive in Nigeria? And I say in Nigeria, we're not alive. We're merely surviving. We breathe in oxygen, we breathe out carbon dioxide. That's not life. That's not what life is all about. The things about life, we don't have it. Where you are afraid every day that you're going to be killed. For me, being afraid that I'm going to be killed is not only when I'm standing in front of the police and they're cocking their guns at me. Being afraid that I'm going to be killed happens every time, all the time. I'm afraid, is it going to be a suicide bomber somewhere going off detonating? I'm afraid, is it going to be some kidnappers coming to carry me? I'm afraid, is it going to be bandits? Am I going to be in my house and some people will come up to say, every day we live in fear, every day. And that's the reason why I always say to people that yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors. And tomorrow's victims will be today's survivors. I always ask the question, I say, who is next? And I also say that those who have died before will not die again. The next to be killed are those of us who are alive. And the same question is, who is next? The victim card in Nigeria is going round. Being a victim in Nigeria is no longer a matter of if you become a victim. No, it's a matter of when will you become a victim. That's how bad things are. And for me, this really isn't life. So we are more or less like dead people who are just walking, and then it goes. And for me, personally, I always deal with survivors' guilt. So when somebody dies, I'm like, why him and not me? Yesterday, we lost a protester in one of the states. He was run over, he was killed by the governor's convoy. And I couldn't process. That's a young man. I'm 46. I'm going to be 47 in December. I've lived life. And for me personally, every day I live life to the fullest because I don't assume that I have the next second. As I'm talking to you now, this is what I have. So I'm going to say my mind as it is because I don't know what's going to happen the next second. And so when I see all of this, it's something that I deal with every time. And I leave my house every day thinking, I might not come back. I wake up in the morning thinking, I might not be the one going to bed. I might be going somewhere. So it's something that is always part of me. It has always been part of me. And I was less than 10 years old when I realized that the worst thing any human being can do to me is to kill me, and that it is not the worst thing because I'm going to die anyway. So I'm sure what my 10-year-old self, this less than 10-year-old self decided on is still the principle by which I live.
All right, Aisha, you say that this protest was started by youths in Nigeria, but there is some rumors that has been going around that some political opportunists are heavily behind these protests. They sponsored them, they are funding them. How true is this?
Well, there's no protest in Nigeria that they didn't say it's being sponsored by either political opportunities or foreign intervention. It's a normal thing that they talk about in Nigeria all the time. I've been on several protests, and that's always the same thing that they say. And what I normally would say to such people is that, was it the political opportunists that were funding the killings by the police, the killings by SARS? Is it the foreign intervention? Because we cannot keep quiet when citizens are being killed, especially by the people that are supposed to protect them. And then we are only vocal when the people who are being killed come out to say enough of the killing. And they're saying they demand to be treated like human beings. One of the things we need to understand is that the youth are fighting for a right to live. And we all should be ashamed of ourselves. The older generation, if we had not failed the youth, they won't be on the streets demanding for something as mundane as fighting to live. Right to life should be a given. It shouldn't be something they should be fighting for in 2020. They should be fighting for the right of bees to have flowers to pollinate. They should be fighting for climate change. They should be fighting for, sophisticated problems. They should not be fighting for, please allow us to live. We've not given them enabling environment. We've denied them of everything. And yet in all of this denial, in all of this suffering, in all of this, they have found niches for themselves where they are thriving. They're doing so well. And yet we are coming after them again. We are harassing them. We're extorting money from them. We're wasting them. We're killing them. A policeman will say to you that he's going to kill you, he's going to waste you, and nothing will happen. And indeed, he will do it, and nothing indeed will happen. And so for me, that's the focus we want. For me, that's what the focus should be. For those who have conspiracy theories, why they think there is some politicians or some foreign intervention, all I say to them, can you please call on the government to fulfill the needs of the protesters so that these political opportunities will not have any opportunity again, and the foreign intervention, there will not be any space for them any matter for them to intervene upon. It's as simple as that. The whole ball is with the government. The ball is at the court of the government. And one of the things the government needs to understand is that do nothing, say nothing, unleash violence is not going to solve this problem. It's not an option. What is an option is for them to do and act upon the demands of the protesters.
All right, Aisha, for some of us who are not Nigerians, we just want to understand, our government shifted its stance in terms of SARS and disbanded it and introduced what? So why are the youth still on the streets? Why are the protests still going on?
The thing is that the government is not to be trusted, as it has shown severally. People have believed the government before, but nothing came out of it. This same SARS that they're telling you they have disbanded now, they disbanded it in December 2017. They disbanded it in 2018. They disbanded it in 2019, and they have in 2020. They changed its name from SARS to FSARS. So SARS means Special Anti-Robbery Squad, and they changed it to Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, FSARS. Nothing happened. The abduction continued, the extortion continued, the harassment continued, the killings continued, the extrajudiciary killings continued. They now changed the name to SWAT. They said they created a new unit, which wasn't true, because SWAT has been in the existence of Nigeria for quite a few years now. And as soon as people are pointed out to them, to the police, to say, no, you're not being factual here. You've had SWOT all this while. Why are you saying that you're forming it now? They change it to tactical team. So this is a government, like I said earlier, where they say one thing and they do another thing absolutely different. And so people don't have trust in them. In June 2019, if I know, let me see if I can just find that document, a tweet from the president. There was a presidential task force was set up on the issue of SARS, because there were human reports on the brutality of SARS and all of that. And then the president set up, I was just trying to see whether, okay, yes, I've just found this thing of the tweet to say, on the 3rd of June, 2019, the president, Muhammadu Buhari, tweeted out from his Twitter handle. He said, I thank the members of the SARS reform panel in 2019 for their work, and have directed the Inspector General of Police and the Solicitor General of the Federal Republic and the PAMSEC and Justice to meet with the National Human Rights Commission to work out the modalities for the implementation of the report within 3 months from today. And this is how many months now? June, July, August, September, October. This is 12 plus 4, 16 months after, nothing came out of it. So when you see the youth on the streets refusing to listen to what the president has said, it's because they have they have gotten used to the fact that the president words are not to be trusted. Whatever he says is not so. He will say he's going to do something, but he never does anything. This SARS reform panel was formed in the year 2018. And they worked together, they brought out all of these abuses. It's a whole thread, because I just have this here. If not, I would have read the whole thread for you to see where it was even acknowledged that indeed there were abuses. Indeed, SARS were doing what they weren't asked by the law to do. SARS had turned themselves to the armed robbers that they were supposed to help get off the streets. Because when you as a policeman, you have guns and you force somebody to transfer money from his bank account to your bank account, or you force someone, you collect whatever money he has with him, or you have a POS and they transfer money to you, it's armed robbery. Because the only thing why they're giving you all of that is because you have arms, and these are arms paid for and given to you by the state. And so when all of this were happening, the victims were coming out and telling the police, tagging the police handle to say, these are your men. This is what they did. This is how much they collected from us. This is the account number. These are the account names. In Nigeria, we have something called BVN. And in every bank, they have what they known as KYC, know your customer, where every person's account is known. There is a name, there is a face, there is address. And if the police was interested in the various allegations of the misconduct of their men that were being passed to them, they definitely would have done something about it. But you saw what happened. They did nothing. And so that's why the protesters are still on the street. And they are saying, until they see action, they're not going to go anywhere.
That's actually what was going to be my question, Aisha, that, okay, you say that government cannot be trusted and the youths will continue to be on the streets. So what type of action do you want to see from government or from the president that will actually ensure the youths that now this is the stance we are taking, and then the youths will trust that? What exactly do you think the government should do to convince the youths that now they have changed, now they can be trusted?
Okay. So the government, through the IG of police, of course, came out with 5 points, 5 things that they were going to do. And then the citizens on that same day also came out with their own 5 points of what they wanted, their own 5 demands of what they wanted the government to do. And one of these demands, I'm going to read them out to you because I don't want to miss anything. I'm just relaying what they have said. I'm not speaking on their behalf. I'm just a concerned Nigerian who has followed the issue right from the beginning. And so the first thing they said was end SARS, right? Truly end it, not just to end it on paper or just to announce it. Because there has been quite a number of reports that SARS are still on the road. SARS are still molesting people. People have even shown with video evidence in the last few days to say, you said these people are off the sea, but see where they are. The first thing is the immediate release of all arrested protesters. There hasn't been immediate release of, some protesters have been released. There are quite a number of protesters still in custody, and there are more protesters who are being taken. And so that's a major issue. And if that will be done, they will know that, yes, there's action. The second thing is that they say justice for all deceased victims of police brutality and appropriate compensation for their families. Some state governments have started doing that, although there's nothing from the federal government. Some state governments have actually been doing that. They've actually visited the families, and some of them have set up a trust fund.
Okay.
The third one is that setting up an independent body to oversee the investigation and prosecution of all reports of police misconduct within 10 days. And what citizens have been saying, that there are a lot of policemen and women that have been identified, that have been known to do all of this, to kill, to maim, to harass citizens. Can you get all of them fired? So that they can start prosecution? Although a few days ago, there was like a bit of announcement where they said some of them, about 37 or thereabout, some of them are going to be sacked, some of them are going to be demoted, and there was that report. So these are some of the things that they ask for. The fourth thing that they're asking for, they say, in line with the new Police Act, psychological evaluation and retraining to be confirmed by an independent body of all disbanded SARS officers before they can be deployed. Because what the government had said before was that they were going to bring them and just deploy them. And the citizens are saying, no, these are people who have killed continuously. These are like serial killers. They're used to killing. I mean, if you take them off to other police units, they're just going to continue their killing. So the first thing that needs to do is to, first of all, evaluate them psychologically, and also to retrain them and then remove this culture of brutality, because there's a culture of brutality in the police and all the security agents, where they feel that because they are in uniform, they actually cause civilians bloody civilians, and they can treat the civilians anyway, anyhow. And so these are some of the things that they are asking for. Then the fifth one, of course, increase police salaries so that they are adequately compensated for protecting lives and property of citizens. So it's like increase their pay, which is the fifth thing. It's for the police, saying to them they need to be taken care of. Their welfare is equally as important. And I tell you, these things haven't really been started. If they started, what would they be doing on the street? What would the youth be doing on the street? I mean, you think they don't want to be at home enjoying themselves, watching TV, doing whatever it is that they do, just catching up, just having fun? They are on the street. They are putting their lives on at risk. And one of the things that I need people to understand is that this protest is a protest of survival. It's not a protest of empathy. They want to survive, because they're saying, we are coming to you to tell you that you're killing us, and you're killing us in broad daylight. So you kill us anyway under the cover of darkness. So the fact that you're killing us in broad daylight, it's not something new. It's only the world that is seeing it as new. They have known that that's what normally happens. And they would rather be there, they say, being killed, than for them to go back home, and then they'll continue the killing. And this time the cameras will be off, the world will not be watching, and then the security agents will do all that they want to do.
But in your opinion, do you think the president will truly send military on the streets if the protests continue?
Well, I hope the president is wise enough not to try that, but that has to be seen. It's not something that any sensible and any reasonable president in this day and era, 2020, to send in the military to the protesters, especially these youth who are intelligent, who are articulate, who are very organic, who have been able to come together and do amazing things. I mean, I'm in awe of the Nigerian youth that are doing this EndSARS. It's amazing what they have accomplished. It's amazing the teamwork. They have scattered all the I don't know, all the things that are used to keep us apart in terms of religion, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of economic status, in terms of academic qualification, in terms of aid. They've just conquered that, and they're all working together. And the synergy and the way it's almost like a government. They're providing security, they're providing welfare, food. They even have a hotline now where you can call, which we don't even have it in Nigeria, where you can call and then press one for food and welfare, press one for, they actually provide their own security now. So it's almost, they are like doing what the government is supposed to do, and the way the government has consistently paid people. So putting soldiers on them, it's not like the older generation where they will put soldiers on us and then we probably run away and stuff like that. These people are ready, they are resilient, they don't want to. And one of the things that I would like the president to really understand is that he needs to understand that he has failed the soldiers. Our military men and women repeatedly have written letters to the president to say that They are facing so much hardship at the front. Their generals aren't treating them very well. There's even a recent case of a sergeant who spoke out, who right now has been in detention, and the military is trying him. So sending the military on the street might backfire, because who knows, they might do what they did in, is it Belarus or something? There's this country where the soldiers were actually dropping their uniforms and joining the protesters, because the soldiers too are angry. And repeatedly they have said that the service chiefs should be sacked that are not doing their work, and the president didn't do that. So if the president is smart, he shouldn't think about deploying soldiers on the protesters. What he should be thinking about is to come down, eat a humble pie, meet them, talk with them, and just do what they ask. Just show it. That's it. Nothing more.
All right, there are also allegations that some of the organizers are meeting business people and politicians. Is it some of a form of maybe negotiations on behalf of government or with government?
So I'm part of those people that met. So it's not an allegation. It happened truly. I was, and which is quite a number of the rest of us. I was here. I had done a program. There's a program I do every day, 9 p.m. Nigerian time, called Let's Talk Nigeria People. I had just finished that, and I picked up my phone. And this was something like after 10. And I picked up my phone and I checked it, and I saw a call from somebody that I know very well, and a missed call. And he had called me to talk to me the day before, and he said he was going to pray for me. So I thought it was a prayer. So I called him, I'm like, oh, okay, bros, where's that prayer? You owe me a prayer. You said you were going to pray for me, but I was driving at the time you had said that. And he said, oh no, that's not bad. He's currently in a meeting now. Would you like to join this meeting? It's on NSAS meeting. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? And then he sent me a Zoom link, and I went into the Zoom link. And as soon as I got in there and I saw the Nigerian billionaires and the Nigerian corporate body, they call themselves COVID or something like that, with the CBN governor and some other state governors. And I was like, okay, because I thought I'm going to have a meeting with other people who were coordinating the NSAS protests from different states. And there were quite a number of them, some celebrities and all of that. So I sued, and then the issue came to the fact that, oh no, that they needed the protest to be stepped down. I'm like, step down? Are you kidding me? Why are we stepping down the protest? Why would you want the protest to be stepped down? Oh no, the economy is weak. Nigeria, we're just coming out of COVID and blah, 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 blah. And I said to them, well, you care about the economy, but the people who are on the streets are fighting for their lives, and you need to understand the difference. When they were killed, you didn't say anything. Your economy was going down. Now that your protest is affecting your own businesses, you're all here. And I said to them, you're not supposed to be having a meeting with us. You're supposed to be having a meeting with the president and saying, these are the things that need to be done. Do it. And even on that day, I said to him, sack the IG of police. Sack him. You want me to tell you what you will do for this protest to end? First of all, sack the IG of police. Every person, let the president write down every name of everybody that have been killed, do a national address, read them out, read those names out, begin to visit the families, send representatives to go and visit the families, set up a fund, which we also told the state governors, and come out to meet with the protesters, do a town hall meeting with them in Abuja, fly to Lagos, the next thing, pick another town. He did campaign. He went to all the 36 states in Nigeria when he was doing campaign. So why wouldn't he go to all the 36 states to go and apologize for the misconduct of policemen and women? And so I read that. They were like, oh no, Aisha, we're looking for solution. Don't be told, because they were said that, oh, I was the one whom the youth will listen to. I said, no, there's nothing like listen to. There's no leadership in this group. Every one of them is a leader. And these are the things. If you want them to get off the street, then get the president to do the needful. And I must say something like, immediately after that meeting, the state governors that were there quite took to heart the different things we said to them, like the Lagos state governor setting up the fund, going to visit the families of victims of NSAS, of SARS, and even the governor of Oyo State and all of that. I saw also the governor of Kwara State, he was there. They took that in there. It's been at the federal level that there seem to be silence. This arrogant silence of disdain, where you feel people are not important, people are nothing. That's the kind of thing that the president has been doing, and that's not the way it should be. I mean, he's legitimate. His legitimacy comes from the people. Without the people, he's nothing. His power comes from the people. The government is nothing without people, and they need to understand that. Not the one that they feel that they are untouchable, they are above the law, and they can do anything that they want to do. But hey, there's a new group of Nigeria in town, and right now he's messing with the next generation. And I hope he's able to backtrack, eat the humble pie, apologize to them, and begin to put in place all the demands that they have made.
All right, Aisha, before these protests, did you ever encounter the SARS yourself? Did you ever
No,
have issues with them?
no, never. I have never. I've
Okay.
never had anything with SARS or known anybody close to me who has. I have never.
All right, so before we wrap up, I've just got
Hello?
two issues to raise with you as we are live. There's someone that says, that picture always brings tears to my face. It makes me so emotional. God bless you, Aisha. So I really think you need to create 30 minutes of your time to yourself, even before the protest, just for you to understand what that picture means to people in Nigeria and people all over that are actually sharing that picture. And then there's also someone that says, Miss Aisha, please, you should add to the list that citizens should have the right to their phones to record any activities going on around them. Does videos can be used as evidence. This is the most important. Without video evidence, the brutality continues in silence. Thank you. God bless your good work.
Thank you so much for that. I think the thing is that the right to do that is already there. It's just that the police aren't obeying. The police are supposed to be law enforcers, but unfortunately, they are lawbreakers. They've been the ones who have been breaking the laws. Even in this protest, the protesters have been exemplary. You know, they clean up after themselves. I mean, they're just so amazing. They're just a generation. If you see, I'm so proud. I'm like, they make me so feel this joy of being a Nigerian. They go to protest, they clean up the trash, they pick up the trash, they clean it up, they share food. The other day in Abuja, they shared food with some police, a traffic warden, who when he saw them, he was afraid. They gave him food. I think it's now they've even gone on a humanitarian round, just meeting with officers, taking care of them, they're just showing love. And so the thing is that this issue of the phone being your ability to record, it's allowed in the law. It's something that you can do. And so in all of this that we are going, at the end of the day, to ensure that there's a reform of the police and the culture of brutality, there's a change management in the culture of brutality that has been with them, and for them to understand that what they are supposed to be there to do, and that they are not lords over the citizens that are under them.
All right, thank you so much, Aisha. But before I let you go, I just want us to give hope to people on the streets and to Nigerians in diaspora. There are a lot of Nigerians in diaspora who are following these protests closely. So in that meeting that you attended, could we say there is hope at all for these billionaires and all these people that were in the meeting to at least ensure that the demands by the people are met? Or what do you think will happen next?
Well, for me, that the meeting by this thing, I left there just even when I left there, I met the person who had invited me in, and I said to him, if you had told me the people that were there, I wouldn't be part of it. One of the things I remember the CBN governor specifically saying to me, Aisha, hold us accountable. And I said to him, we can't hold you accountable. Why? You don't have the mandate of the people. You're just an appointee. And I said, you don't have the mandate of, it's the people that were voted for that have their mandate. But one of the things that I would say to Nigeria is the fact that there's hope in Nigeria. Nigeria is a great country. Nigeria is an amazing country. We have so much talent, and we have the youth who are going to take this nation from where it has been to where it's supposed to be, and which is among the top nations in the world. The Nigerian youth are resilient, and finally they have woken up, and they're showing it now. All of us, what we need to do is to support them in every way that we can. We need to support them, because this fight is not for them alone. This fight is for the fight for the soul of Nigeria. At the our girls movement, we always say that the fight for Chibok girls is the fight for the soul of Nigeria. And today we see again NSAS being referred to as the fight for the soul of Nigeria. So that means we all can do something. We all can come together. We all can work together. You know, every time they tell us, there's a lie that we believe, which is that Nigerians can never be united, that we have too many languages, we have different religions, we are from different ethnic background and all of that, different economic status, give different educational qualification. But guess what? The youth today under NSAS movement have shown that all of these things are lies. Nigerians can actually come together and work for a singularity of purpose. See the way they are working, see the way they are governing themselves. In a short time, they came together and they've put themselves together, and they're doing a lot of things that government has not been able to do in terms of healthcare, providing healthcare services, taking care of people's welfare, providing security, all of these things that they're doing. It simply says what? That the youth of Nigeria are ready to take over Nigeria. And I said to you, you're not the leaders of tomorrow, you're the leaders of today. You're the present leader, and we're ready to follow you. So anybody who is in Nigeria, whether you are back home, whether in diaspora, know that there's a new dawn in Nigeria. And as much as you can, support it in every way you can so that we'll get to that. We are at a tipping point. Let's not go back to where we are coming from, because where we are coming from the last 60 years hasn't been the best thing. Let's go to where we are supposed to be, because there's such a bright future over there. We want a Nigeria where the child of nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody. We want the Nigeria where access to good quality education is not dependent on the economic status of one's family. We want a Nigeria where the child of the policeman and the child of the president will be seen as equal and will be treated equally in the face of the law. We want a Nigeria where no Nigerian is more Nigerian than any Nigeria. We want a Nigeria where at least we hold our green, white, green, and we'll be proud wherever we are. And we want that Nigeria where even when you as a Nigerian, you are living in diaspora, even when you have dual citizenship, the people that you are in their country, we know that you are there, not because you have to, but because you want to. And I tell you, Nigeria must work in our lifetime, and we have to get it going. Thank you.
All right, but I keep getting something to ask. All right, this is the final thing that I want you to tell us. So I know that you say that these protests, nobody owns them. Is that the youth that started this? But is there like an organizing committee in case someone in diaspora wants to also maybe chip in, donate food, water, or whatever, just for the welfare, and even food? A lot of families need that help. What happens? Who do they talk to?
There's in terms of what do you call it, fundraising. I haven't been part of any fundraising, but there's an amazing group of young women called Feminist Coalition on Twitter. You can find them there. They have details there where they are donating, and they have raised, I think they've raised over 70 million naira as of the last count, and they're using this money judiciously, and they're being accountable. They're bringing out what they're spending it all. They're spending all over the country, and it's quite amazing. So for those who want to help, they can check that out. Even Jack of Twitter did tweet that out of what they're doing, and of course the account numbers, and also this Bitcoin, I don't know much about that, how they will donate. It's out there. So for now, they are the ones who are at the front. Yeah, there might not be so what they're doing, that there's no single leader where you have leader and followers. They're all like leaders, every one of them, and they're working together in a team, and there's a huge cohesion. Like right now, if I would be the one to tell you, it is actually the Nigerian government that does not have leadership. It's not the protesters. The protesters have leadership. They're all leaders in their right. They're first among equals, and they're working very well, seamlessly. In the meantime, there seems not to be anything from the Nigerian government where there seems to be lack of leadership.
All right, thank you so much, Aisha, for joining me today on Live Chat with Josie, and keep doing what you do best and keep being the Iron Woman of Nigeria. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians, a lot of youths are looking up to you, so keep up the good work.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
All right, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today here on Live Chat with Josie, where I was speaking to Aisha Yesufu from Nigeria in regards to the NSAS protests. Keep it Live Chat with Josie until next time. Thank you.